Kayfabe Avenue.
Justifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in, but the cream rise to the top. Oh yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, heels and faces, casual wrestling fans, and all you smart marks, I'm Richie Moon,
And I'm Kayfabe AJ.
And I'm Kayfabe Focus.
and this is Kayfabe Avenue, and this is This Week in Wrestling. Man, we've had some roster trades, we've had some PLE, some pay-per-views, we've had some deal signed. Focus, AJ, update the people of what's going on in the wide, wonderful world of wrestling.
Well, if you want to talk about worldwide, wild world of wrestling, say that shit 5 times, right?
Yeah.
One of the biggest news coming out is this new partnership between CMLL, New Japan, and MLW. Now, I know, Focus, you have a lot of knowledge regarding MLW and Selena Derenza, who's kind of in charge, you said. So
Yeah.
maybe you want to shed some light on who's over there and what's the situation with that.
So right now, in MLW, Selena De Lorenzo was re-signed. She's been away allegedly from MLW for a couple years. They re-signed her. She's basically a producer and booker for MLW, and she helps with the Spanish-speaking wrestlers as well as the contracts. Working with CMLL is a great move since they've been in the wrestling business for a long time. And also having with New Japan bringing in their Japanese strong style wrestlers, hopefully we'll have more matches between American up and comers and legends, and hopefully MLW will start to get more of the market share in the wrestling business.
So what do you guys think about the partnership between AEW and New Japan? Does it benefit from this, or do you think they'll be kept away, or does New Japan kind of drift away from AEW a little bit, which will be kind of ironic considering we just came off a Wrestle Dream?
I definitely don't think New Japan will drift away from AEW because they make too much money together. There's too much. I mean, with all due respect to CMLL, and all the other promotions out there, but let's call it spade and spade. New Japan, AEW, and WWE are your top three. And you have, out of the top three, you have two of them working together. I don't think it would be a good financial move if New Japan and AEW went separate ways. So I definitely don't think I think the relationships will continue, but they'll just continue doing because AAA and AEW work together, but you won't see any New Japan crossover within that. So I think they'll just keep the same business flow. Honestly,
that makes sense. What about you, Focus?
I'm not sure why New Japan decided to partner up with MLW. It's probably because
money.
AEW has it's probably because AEW has AAA and not CMLL, and they've been together with CMLL for a long time. Mm-hmm. So is this the beginning of a partnership between AEW and MLW? My sorrowing, because now they're not the exclusive promotion with New Japan Pro Wrestling wrestlers, and people can say, oh, Impact, but that's here and there when they used Impact. New Japan Pro Wrestling wrestlers. So we'll see how that goes, and hopefully, we'll see more interaction with MLW and New Japan and AEW. But who knows? It might be leading into a shaky agreement with AEW because it's not an exclusive agreement no more for the American wrestlers.
So I don't think Tony is a ruthless businessman to the point that partnership between another company would hinder their personal partnership. I think that's more of a Vince thing. Vince has definitely been like, my brand above all, my own universe. So I don't think Tony's gonna I don't think he's gonna have any negative impact from that. I think if anything, this might inadvertently cause a pipeline for all the people from MLW, CMLL to actually get an opportunity in AEW. Let's be honest. This helps bolster New Japan in a situation where a lot of them can't get visas to come to America. Now you have a bunch of rosters to tap into. to create storylines with AEW, throw them on these forbidden doors and the pay-per-views like that. So I think if anything, it benefits the wrestling community as a whole, but I think it's gonna eventually lead to a pipeline if New Japan and AEW continue their partnership, which given the Inoki tribute, the Wrestle Dream pay-per-view, which we'll
Forbidden
speak about
Door.
later. I think that kind of strengthens their partnership. So I definitely see a pipeline coming for AEW for more wrestlers. I think they need it too, having Ring of Honor in their back pocket as well. So yeah, hopefully we'll see more news based on that partnership, and if anything, that just means more shit that we get to see.
Shout out to Selena Zarrenta for really being a standout in MLW for all the things that she does, for getting that big money contract. I'm pretty sure a lot of other companies wanted her services, but she was like, nah, that's where I'm going. So shout out to her for getting that money.
She
Yeah, I
definitely
mean,
is.
I think people are starting to wake up and come to the realization that you don't need WWE specifically to get things done. If you want to reach people
You want to
massively
reach more
and
people, right?
quicker, then you go to the WWE, because even NXT is broad enough in scale that they'll get eyes on you. So
Right. I think that's a perfect segue for our next topic, which is a young lady who spoke about being seen on a big platform by making big money moves, by wanting people to be talking about her and leading a legacy and being in a Hall of Fame. And this might be a hot take, but I honestly think Jay Cargill jumping ship to WWE, not that it was bigger than Cody, but it meant more. Here's my reason. Jay Cargill, homegrown AEW star. Homegrown. Cody has been to WWE. His father was in WWE. His family's legacy. His brother was in WWE. He left, made some noise. AEW came back. It was almost, in some ways, it was almost kind of expected, honestly. Jay Cargill never did the Indies, never did any other promotion. Homegrown AEW star, and then makes a choice to jump to WWE when she was doing fantastic in AEW. 60-2, was a champion for over a year. She looks like a main event
he hasn't
star.
done anything in WWE at all yet, and they're already like publicizing her and talking about her on SmackDown. They're showing her training in the PC. So I agree with you in a certain regard. Like, yeah, it's bigger because it is their homegrown talent. Everyone else the majority, let's not say everyone else, the majority of the AEW roster has ties to WWE. Now, that's not a knock. Let's not talk tribalism or nothing like that.
Sure.
Every
That's every
wrestler
company.
runs every wrestler runs through other companies, but
Right.
WWE is the star maker, and they're known for creating more characters and more prominent stars. So for a company to get homegrown talent that reaches mainstream, her first big match was with Shaq involved.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you got to think about how many people she's touching worldwide on a daily basis. Not only that, her little feud with Bow Wow, of all people, it started trending on TV. It was trending all over. Yeah, it was trending all over X or Twitter. And
she would have beat Bow Wow up just for the record. Go ahead.
With one clothesline.
Right.
But she has a lot of reach. So they're treating her, and they're showing that there's a possibility, depending on your status, you can jump over back to WWE, not back to for the first time, and get treated in the same light. And we're seeing it with like Brian Pillman. He was literally nothing in AEW. They tried. They put him in a tag team. The tag team failed. I wouldn't even say the tag team failed. The tag team didn't get enough chances.
They killed it.
They killed it. They were only BTE guys at one point, but he's already getting his little promo build up with past vignettes and showing his legacy. So they're already treating Brian Pillman with probably a slight more respect, being a second generation wrestler. in WWE than they did in AEW. And you could have technically said he was one of their homegrown, even though he was in MLW and a few other places. But that's one of the people that they kind of dropped the ball on. WWE is shaping up, looking like they're already promoting him in the better light. They're already putting Jade in a big spotlight. So, as big as Cody, that's arguably I have to agree with that. Like, it's
They're
crazy to think
marketing.
about.
They're marketing Jade like Hulk Hogan left WWF for WCW,
For the women.
and the star power that she has, it's well deserved. People could talk about her in-ring talent, or that she's green, but it doesn't change the fact that she has that it factor. She's a star from the second that she stepped onto that stage, and nothing's gonna change that. If she didn't have the wrestling talent, she would be a great manager or valet. Like, let's no matter what
I would
role
never
that you
see her
put,
as a valet.
you would never.
I need to see her. She needs to be brought up in, like, if China was the ninth, she needs to be the 10th wonder of the world, like, type shit. Nobody has her physique, has her sex appeal, has her look, has her charisma.
The total it factor.
She is.
Literally. Even the
She did-
little opportunities she had to cut promos in AEW or getting her little segments, she killed it. The cut the shit, Tony, all that. Like, people look forward to that. So
she was that when she said it was that bitch show, she really meant it, and she was proving it every single time. People could say whatever and have her little credits or whatever, but she's a star, and her current trajectory is only going up. Especially when you pair that with the performance center and all the legends that you have surrounding her now, as compared in AEW. She has like a whole library of knowledge of she could tap into, and develop her character, and get away from this notion that she's green or this, that, and the third.
It's choices. And I really liked her interview when it was a choice, and she said it was a really easy choice. And I don't blame her. I think it was a very easy choice. If I was in her corner, I would definitely be like, yeah, you should definitely go to WWE, because they will. I mean, she looks like a real life Storm. She looks like a WWE superstar. You know what I'm saying? So for her to hear her go over there wasn't a big surprise. I think the next person that we bring up may be a huge surprise, because, I mean, 31 years in a business, 30 and a half of them have been in WWE. I remember his debut in WWE, at least his TV debut.
Oh,
and I mean, I feel like I've grown
wait,
up.
well, hold up. Before we even get to him, real quick, top 5, who do you want Jade to go against in WWE? If you could book the next year, who are the 5 people you want her to face?
So top 5, I'm gonna go with people who aren't really a household name list. So I'm not gonna say Bianca Belair, because that's
obvious.
So let's not go with.
I wasn't even thinking Bianca because of how obvious. Even a possible tag team.
Number one. Number one, it would have gotten. I would like to see her against Zelina.
You broke up a little bit. You said Tiffany Stratton?
Yeah.
Stratton, Zelina. Okay. I would like to see her against who else? Dakota Kai and Tegan Knox as well.
So you got me with the Tiffany Stratton. That was definitely the first on my list, and I say first on the list because you can use Tiffany Stratton to springboard her, kind of gauge where her level is at, because Tiffany Stratton right now is firing on all fucking cylinders, and we can get into that more later. But Tiffany Stratton to start, and I'd say that feud can last a while, and if Becky's still involved, Becky, use Becky to springboard out of NXT. Now you get to choose whatever brand. So if she was on Raw, I'd go with it's obvious Rhea Ripley, but that would be the end goal. Nia Jax, who I have to mention because I'm sorry, he was fucking savage. As Jim Cornette described, had all the charisma and talent of Sable wrapped in a latex inside of a latex wrapped refrigerator.
God damn it. God damn it.
This was Jim Cornette's words. He's a fucking savage. And I kind of have to agree as far as the talent part. I think she did what she had to do as far as that promo on Monday, but it was all this time you still need work on your promo game. Come on. But the latex wrap refrigerator part, that was fucking ridiculous.
That was wild.
But
that's wild.
I will go to Nia Jax because right now she's currently being built as the destroyer on Raw outside of Rhea Ripley. Even though we used to call her the injurer, but that goes without saying because somebody might be legitimately injured. There's rumors already. After Nia Jax, I probably would go to Rhea Ripley. That's what Stratton, Lynch, Jax. Nah, you have to put somebody else in the middle of that. And this is the thing. This is why I think Raw needs to be stacked up.
Candice LeRae. Put Candice LeRae on there.
They're not booking
She was
Candice
gonna be my
LeRae.
6-1.
If anything, Candice would
That's
have
what
to
I'm
be
saying.
before Nia Jax then.
Yeah.
So I throw Candice before Nia Jax.
Number 6.
See Jade and I know this is obvious, but I want to see Jade and Bianca become a tag team. And I mean, I'm not booking it in any kind of order. I want to see them become a tag team and then going against each other. I would like to see Jade Cargill versus Nikita Lyons. Shout out to my boo. I would like to see.
Damn, what's happened? She's injured still, right?
Yeah, she's still injured. She's like to see Jade Cargill. Honestly, and this, I would like to see Jade Cargill take Nia Jax just out of the picture, just like write her off the TV completely, just straight up, just be in a match, just write her off completely.
You're not hashtag giving Nia Jax a chance.
I mean, I don't have anything against her, but it's just like I'm not backstage and I'm not wrestling her. But from what I see, like there's just too many legitimate injuries at this point. It's just like you're the common denominator with all these injuries. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm not the one getting injured. I'm not the one wrestling, but there's one common factor. There is one woman as a common factor with all these injuries. And at some point, it's just like I don't care who you're related to, who your family is. Enough is enough. You got the talent. Bring her back to NXT. Like it's just anyway. You know what I'm saying? Just if you're injuring people, go back to the PC, and it's okay. Shit, it's okay if you're injuring people, but take out, have a write off Nia Jax, a team in eventual feud with Bianca Belair. I know it's obvious, but mommy Rhea Ripley, whether we like it or not, well, I'll save her for last. I would love a rivalry with her and Bayley. I don't feel like Bayley gets half the credit.
If we was talking about the SmackDown, then I would say Bayley too. Yeah. And I'd also love to see her destroy and do what you just said about Nia Jax, but absolutely destroy Charlotte Flair. I think if anybody needs to jump ship from WWE to AEW, it should be Charlotte Flair. Go with your man. Go with your man. You've done everything in WWE. I'm at the point in the fandom that I'm sick of seeing her on my screen. And it's not because I don't like her personally. It's not because I don't respect her in-ring or character or mic work. It's all perfect. She's fucking boring. There's nothing else to do with her anymore. And she keeps getting booked in the same way. Like straight to the title. Straight to the title. Straight to the title.
She's the measuring.
Ugh. Not the measuring stick.
She about it, like unless you beat Charlotte. That's why I respect her, because she is the standard bearer. Like, you can do all these other things, but you're never going to be stamped until you beat Charlotte. And that's the position that they put her in. But it's the way they go about it. It makes her look bad. And that's why we get fan reactions like this, where it's just like, we want to see Charlotte go.
She got that go home heat with me right now, and it's not even because she's doing the job wrong.
The great promos, the way they present her, it's the way that she's presented. It's just like, we want it's go away heat at this point. It's like, go away, just go jump ship.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I got for her right now.
WWE, it's hard to digest it, and I agree with you. That's what I was going to say. Like, I wish she could do a story where she can kind of write Charlotte off, and Charlotte can go over to AEW, because
all right, so
there's just nothing they can do to rehab her character. There's just nothing they can do.
Continuing on with the topic of people jumping
Give her
ship.
the NXT UK title.
That's the only one she hasn't won.
All right. Continuing with the people who might jump ship, who do you think is next to jump ship from either company?
Ricky Starks.
AJ Styles.
Wardlow.
Wardlow needs to jump ship. He needs
it because he needs the character progression that WWE will probably give him because of his look and build. But I still think Wardlow's pretty green, and that's because AEW hasn't really pushed him in that way.
I want Bailey to jump ship. I want Asuka to jump ship. I want AJ Styles to jump ship. I would have said Edge, but he's already there. That's all.
I want Prince Nana to jump ship.
Yeah, give a Swerve back. That'll be the only way I respect Hit Row.
Just come on, Hit Row is dead. Cut it out.
You know Hit Row died when Top Dollar got. Yeah.
Shout out to Swerve.
I repeat, Top Dollar. Hit Row died when Swerve left.
His name is Francis.
Francis. Mic check. Mic check. Francis.
Hit him with
Hit Row
the shoot
died
names.
when Swerve left.
Hit him with the shoot names.
You know what? That's probably why I didn't like him. His name is Francis. It reminds me of Deadpool.
We like Deadpool over here.
We do love Deadpool, but the villain in that movie was Francis.
Oh yeah, for the first one.
His real name is Francis.
I think his real name is Francis.
I think ironically, yeah, some of the people you mentioned definitely should jump ship. I don't know so much about Bailey. I think Bailey's in the perfect position. Former champion, could be put in that position at any point. She's given the stable that she's been asking for a couple of years. They were kind of dropping the ball on it, but they redirected that course. They kept them together. They've already been tag team champions. They got EO with the championship, with the women's championship, and they still got the back and forth between her and Bailey, teasing the future. But so far it's been really good. So I think Bailey's in a good position. She's still prominently used, and this is my thing with certain people you chose. I don't want people like Edge. I'd straight up say it. Like, I'm happy he's there.
Ledge.
Seeing him.
Ledge.
Adam Copeland.
Ledge. His name is Ledge now. Ledge.
Seeing him there, like, it was a cool moment. I was happy for him. You could tell he's really happy. Watching him at the scrum, you can tell like he's finally like reinvigorated, and people like him need that. Like Jericho needed to be reinvigorated. They need that. My concern is you left WWE in a situation where it wasn't that they weren't trying to use you, they were protecting you. Something like Daniel Bryan. They wanted to use them, but sparingly, because they were trying to preserve them. They're already in their 40s with major neck injuries. If Edge, which is confirmed to be full-time, he's already booked for Dynamite this week, Collision. He already has a match scheduled with Luchasaurus in 2 weeks. So it's full on. I don't want him to put himself in a situation where he's doing the gimmick bullshit matches. I want these guys who are jumping ship from WWE to implement a little bit of the WWE flavor of storytelling and match style to kind of balance all this blood and gut shit. I don't want to see Edge bleeding every week. I don't want to see Edge getting put through fucking major tables and those crazy hardcore situations. Do I want to see Edge in matches? Yes. Do I want to see Edge regularly? Yeah, I do. But I hope that they use him in a way that's like, here's a great wrestling match. He'd have to bleed. It wasn't a gimmick match. It wasn't a spot fest. I don't want it to become a spot fest. Daniel Bryan, he fell into that thing. A lot of spot fest. You're giving us the great wrestling. Daniel Bryan is like their ace outside of like John Moxley, but I think he even overtook John Moxley recently as the ace. But how many times he's been injured already in AEW? Got a
3
steel
times.
rod in his arm a few months ago.
What I will say is a lot of.
Is he
I'm not saying
full?
that they have. They don't have. I'm not saying that they have 100% creative control, but Moxley puts himself in those situations. Brian Daniels, who puts himself in those hard hitting situations.
Right. And that's why I respect WWE stance
So
on we're going to use you sparingly, because not only are we keeping the level of attention from your audience and the want and the surprise factor of when you do come back, like it's a moment every time Edge had a storyline in the last 2 years. It's a moment. Not only that, you was preserving your body. So you was able, if you stood in WWE, you probably would have had another 5 years plus at this rate. In AEW, we might have his final run in a year. His final run in a year, maybe 2 years.
But AEW has less shows than WWE though.
What?
You got to think about it. WWE does house shows regularly.
Bro,
AEW doesn't have house shows.
Dynamite
Collision,
which
Rampage.
is a double show because Rampage is filmed at the end.
Right.
So sometimes they do pull double duty. Sometimes it's rare, but there's 2 shows, Collision, and now they're going monthly.
I think Edge will wrestle similarly to Saraya. Saraya's been there for a year. She's maybe had 10 matches. Maybe 10 matches.
Yeah,
like I think we'll see Adam Copeland a lot, but do I think we'll see him wrestle a lot?
Not on a high level.
I hope not. I hope not. And if it
And
is
if
on
it
high
does-
level, I want it to be pure wrestling of it. Not
but
this
you gotta think about it.
bullshit.
You can't take away that choice from him. Like if Adam wants to do a hardcore match,
I'm saying this is what I hope. I'm not saying he has to do that or I'm not a fan. Right. I'm as much as I want to see the action. I've been watching wrestling long enough, and this is shit that I feel like fans are so fucking desensitized that you feel like they're your action figures. Like generally speaking, like none of these fucking people are breaking themselves every day for us. So these legends that want a second win in AEW, I want them to be at a proper scale.
Yeah.
Dude was good. Edge is perfect for storylines. Edge is perfect for the promo game. Long form storytelling. It's perfect for Edge. So if he's wrestling once a month and everything was built up storylines around, that's perfect for me. Because I don't want him to burn out too quick. I do want him to eventually get to that Christian versus Edge match to finish their careers. I do want to see that. But I don't want the first year Edge back, and he's already been, as much as they protect him in WWE, he already got injured over there. Let's not forget that. He got injured right after coming back. Right. So the possibility of injury is even greater in AEW. Twice. Right. So the possibility of injury is greater in AEW. So that is my fear. A lot of these fans are going crazy. Oh, Edge sold out. No, he did what was best for him. But I hope with that freedom he gets, he also protects himself. Because I know WWE wasn't on some, oh, we don't got nothing for you, Edge. No. Just like Daniel Bryan, you got neck issues. That's a liability, one. Because if we invest you in major storylines, now we got to think about the possibility of you getting injured and us rewriting the whole shit. So it's a liability issue. It's keeping you around longer. It's keeping that importance. How quick did CM Punk lose that importance, bro? He was on TV every fucking week. And let's disregard the bullshit, the drama.
I think that's why he lost. I think that's why he lost his
The
special.
luster, we was just used to it already.
I think personally, for me as a fan, I mean, and I like CM Punk's second run, but when he did all that bullshit at All Out, him coming back, even when he came back for the debut of Collision, it was like, yeah, I'm happy to see you, but it wasn't like how it was on Rampage when you first came. I remember when Punk, for me personally as a fan, when Punk first came back before all the BS started, every time I seen Punk, I was super excited. Promo, commentary, I was super excited. After the BS, it was just like, yeah, all right, you're here. So
Yeah,
but that's for me personally. For me personally, that's how I felt.
But after maybe the first 2-3 months of CM Punk, I felt like that, like pop he was getting was like slowly.
Well, it's the law of diminishing returns. That's no matter what company, no matter what company, it's just the law of diminishing returns. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I just want them to keep him special. Like, I don't want you
I think that's part of the reason why he left, though, because what I do like what they do over at AEW is it seems like we were talking about offline how Collision seems more put together than Dynamite. Daniel Bryanson's in the trenches with TK putting together creative. So I'm interested to see what creatively Edge can bring to the backstage and bring that we're eventually going to see on camera. I'm interested to see what his creative take is going to be like in AEW.
Well,
because you don't get that chance in WWE. You get a little
yeah. I mean,
like,
we get a glimpse of that when we talk about Wrestle Dream. We can talk a little bit more because we got a glimpse of that at Wrestle Dream. But as far as like I said, jumping ship. Some of those people that you did say, I agree with you. They should have edged. That's a good move. That's a good pickup for AEW. But can we stop for a minute and also talk about the hypocrisy of Tony Khan?
Why?
Wasn't this man about a year ago bitching on Twitter, talking about WWE is talking to my talent while they're under contract? Now, if Edge's contract expired on Saturday, wasn't you talking to Edge before his contract was up while he was on the contract to WWE?
This is true.
There was reports that Edge gave his notice before the summer that he wasn't gonna come back.
That's cool. But the premise of what Tony was bitching about was interacting with his stars while under contract because Tony was scared of his stars being stolen. Now you're doing the same thing.
But what
regardless, you're supposed to wait till Saturday.
What if Edge reached out to? I mean, Christian's right there. What if it was a 3-way conversation?
Okay, and Tony, being the person to make that an issue, should have said, Edge, I'll talk to you the day your contract comes out. I'm interested and we'll talk more. And I'm only mentioning this.
I understand what you're saying.
I'm only mentioning this because the fucking hypocrisy, bro. I love both companies, but I'm gonna call a spade a fucking spade. You're a hypocrite, Tony. You just bitched about WWE doing it. You just bitched about WWE doing it. You just did it. Am I mad about it? No. Yeah, wrestling as a whole is being elevated, but stop bitching and looking over the fucking fence and complaining about everything they fucking doing, and then you turn around and make the same moves when you realize, oh shit, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. They've only been here for 40, 50, 60 years. Like, they've only perfected this fucking business. So they're, I think Tony's finally come into the realization of how he's supposed to move. And sadly is by, going through a bunch of drama and a bunch of setbacks, to get to that place where he's booking a little smarter. He's taking a little bit more control of his locker room, but stop looking over the fucking fence and complaining about the next man. And then you go and do the same shit.
That's fair.
With that being said, you got something else to say?
I feel like it's might be kind of different situations depending on which wrestlers WWE was talking about. just on a simple fact, when somebody's under a contract negotiation, and as me being a contractor, I would want to speak to another company to renegotiate. And if I'm giving you, hey, if you know my contract's being up for renegotiation, I'm gonna let the company know. I'm gonna talk to other companies, and if they want to, they could be like this, that, and the third. But either way, as a contractor, I'm gonna still talk to this company. It's not gonna be contracts happening on their part,
No, that's
but it's me
understood. That's how
looking
business.
at other
That's
things.
how business is done. In the business that me
I
and you are in real
feel
life,
I,
the
I
shit that
feel the
we
way
do in real
what
life,
Tony
we
Khan
have
was
to we
saying was
have to
that,
vet different vendors for our businesses,
all right,
right?
but listen,
It's the same shit. What
you're not
I'm
letting me
saying is
finish.
Tony's being hypocritical and
You're not letting me
calling that
finish
out.
though.
I'm just saying that I'm agreeing with
So
you.
base no, but I'm saying that at that certain time when it's a contract renegotiation, there was reports that Edge told them in the summer, and during that time they could have had this whole the contract negotiation, this, that, and the third between all three parties, and that's fair game. I feel like what Tony was saying was that that WWE was trying to talk to wrestlers that are not in the middle of negotiation, but were in the middle of the contract. And I feel like that was a more foul play than to be like, oh, this wrestler's renegotiating coming up, so he's gonna be talking to this other company. I feel like that's where it might be a little difference on why Tony would say certain things. Because if you're talking to a wrestler in the middle of the contract, I feel like that's contract tampering. But if you're talking to them when they're renegotiating, that's fair game because that contractor has the right to look at other opportunities and pick and choose what opportunity he wants to go.
I agree.
Agreed. But at the end of the day, you cannot talk about how another business conducts their business and then conduct it in the same way. That's what I'm saying. As an independent contractor, the superstar in this situation, yes, they have the right to negotiate with other companies. The other company is not supposed to tamper. That's contract tampering when you're trying to negotiate while another person's on the contract. As an independent contractor with his contract coming up, yeah, that makes sense. This is the offer I got. Can you match? That's what they do. But Tony called that out on some shit and was showing his fanboyism instead
What
of
I'm
being the
saying,
businessman.
what I'm
And
saying is
that's
that
what
there
I'm
might be
calling
a
out on him.
possibility. What I'm saying is there's a possibility that what WWE was trying to do was that it was in the middle of the contract, not
I
the
understand.
negotiation,
No, but I
which is even
understand what you're saying.
which is foul play.
I
That's what he's
understand what
probably
you're
was
saying.
trying to call out. But it's like, it is what it
It's the
is.
same shit.
I don't feel like
It's
it's
the
the same
same
shit
shit.
when it's
The,
not
you
when it's
what you just said
contract
was maybe
negotiation.
they were negotiating in the summer. That's about 2-3 months ago. We're in October.
Yes, yes,
So you think with 2-3 months on the contract, that's not the same thing?
they're renegotiating. Edge gave the notice. Hey, I'm gonna look other places.
He froze
They
up.
WWE in the contract. I said that Edge gave the notice that hey, my contract's coming up. I want to look other places. I feel like that's way different than WWE contacting a performer in the middle of their contract, no renegotiation anywhere at all, just to talk to them. I feel like that's what Tony Khan was trying to talk about because I don't feel like when you're renegotiating whatever with the contract, you could speak to another company because that's
All
what
right,
you're
we're
expected to
about to
do.
get cut off by our advertisers, so we'll be right back after this break. And we're back. We left off with the Edge contract negotiations, and I agree with Focus as far as the independent contractor should be able to speak between the companies and
During negotiations process. That's it.
during the negotiation process. But here's the thing. Even WWE, they start negotiating with their wrestlers months, even a year before their contract is up. So at what point is it morally right that Tony could take advantage of it unless he knows the contract is done?
I
You know,
feel like because
but
I
hold
feel
on,
like
hold on. So the other aspect we have to think about in this situation is that's just how the fucking business is. Friends are working in both companies. You don't think there's no feelers going out between the locker room? Fuck management. So they're already planning their next steps, even without management even being involved, because they already got their friends in both locker rooms. We've seen it with Cody being in WWE and Ricky Starks being in the backstage. Rumors possibly him jumping. The same thing vice versa. So I just wanted to just point out it was just a hypocritical thing of Tony to bitch about and then realize it's a part of the wrestling business to send feelers to renegotiate a little bit early to make those special moments. And I'm glad that he did capitalize off of it. But the bigger picture for me was stop looking over the fucking fence. Stop looking over the fence and pointing fingers. Worry about your business. Focus on your shit. For the most part, you've been doing things right. Continue in that direction. But when it comes negotiation time and it comes, oh shit, the inner fan, I want to steal that star from him. Like, I know his contract is up soon. Like, if I don't speak now, I might lose that window. There's going to come those moments that he's going to do that. And I just want him to own it when it does happen. Because whether it happened within the last week or what you kind of figured within the summer or before summertime, that's months with contract time still there and possibly WWE still trying to keep their people. So it's just if you want to go moral and not ruthless businessman, then go moral. But you can't play both sides. That's all I got to say about Tony. Not so much knocking him or anything like that. Just don't play both sides.
Yeah. I want to see AJ Styles jump ship.
But what was your comment so we can wrap that up and then we'll get into Wrestle Dream?
Oh,
and...
I said my comment.
No, I'm saying focus. He had another comment. I just wanted to get that train of thought off.
Oh no, because you got to understand AEW was signing a lot of people, and I feel like WWE was reaching out to them to try to get them off, like as soon as they got signed, like certain people, like when Cody Rhodes was doing the TNT challenge and they was basically signing like every wrestler that Cody Rhodes faced afterwards. I feel like they reached out to some of those, and Tony Khan didn't appreciate that because that was the beginning of the contract. It wasn't no renegotiation stage.
A lot of those people too, you got to remember, AEW wasn't signing those people. They were on like one show, two show deals.
We're talking about specifically the ones that were signed though, like Ricky Starks and Eddie Kingston, who specifically stated that after they went on AEW TV and got signed by AEW, WWE reached out to them to get them out the contract. I feel like that's what what Tony Khan was trying to say.
Yeah,
not during the renegotiation process.
Yeah, but Tony's gonna get to a place where he's gonna buy people out of contracts, where he's gonna say this person's too big of a draw and has too much likability for me not to attack. And that's my point. Be a ruthless businessman or be morally strong, but you can't have a moral compass and then you know what I mean?
Right.
But moving on, so let's get into NXT real quick. It's a shorter card, but it was really good. So the Jade Cargill effect worked on me, because I was here anticipating where she might show up. So fully tuned into Raw, fully tuned into NXT for this week, for the first time in a long time, which to my surprise, really great. A lot of development, caught me up to a lot of the stories going into this pay-per-view. And then No Mercy. So before we even say anything about, I got to shout out my favorite part of the presentation of this fucking pay-per-view. They did the old school No Mercy Nintendo 64 opening with the current NXT roster being used in the pixelated menus. They had the catchphrases, they had the sound effects of the game. Super nostalgic. It made me want to see No Mercy again as a pay-per-view. The shit was like dope, the presentation. All through, they were making like little references on commentary to the game and all that. So I think that was one of the high points. Like, they actually focus on not just actual in-ring history, but their IPs too. They should start doing more of that. Like, WWE's has so many old IPs that they dropped or could reference, So that was pretty
Right.
dope. The match card for NXT No Mercy was I didn't see the kickoff show, so I missed this. Kelani versus Blair Davenport. But going into the actual matches on the actual show, Braun Baker versus Baron Corbin. We had
That was great. I like
that
that
was
one.
yeah. I mean I haven't liked Corbin in a long time, but I actually like that they're finally somewhat giving him a little swag. He came out with like a skull bandana covering half his face. Came out on a motorcycle. He has new tattoos on his back. So they're letting him play with his image. And I was actually surprised that he won this match. I really thought it was going to Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker also had a crazy entrance with a wolf's head. Like he had the whole like kind of like Sammy Guevara's panda, but a whole wolf. And as you know,
Signifying
Corbin is
signifying
the
that he's
lone
gonna
wolf.
slay the wolf. Yeah, he's
Right.
gonna slay the wolf.
So that was pretty dope. They had the family versus OTM versus the Creed brothers versus Los Lotharios. Fatal 4-way for the NXT Tag Team Championship.
Great
I
match.
saw the promo from NXT prior, like I said, the Jay Cargo effect. Great fucking promo out of uh what are they called? The family. Great promo. They like have this Italian gimmick going on. Had all the tag teams sitting around the table, they eating dinner, and pretty much they're all trying to vouch to the Don in the family, who's the tag team champions, why they should be the ones. And then at the end, he's like, we'll take all of you on because we don't want anybody casting any doubts or having any excuses. So he ends up they end up making it a fatal 4-way. The family retains. Great fucking match. Then we had Noam Dar versus Butch, NXT Heritage Cup, British Rounds Rules match. I predicted this match exactly how it was going to go. One fall apiece. They'll wait to the end of the 18 minutes, which is the 6th round, in order to crown who's the winner. It was a little weird because there was 20-second breaks in between the 3-minute rounds. So you see them getting water or, things you usually see in boxing. So that was different. Very good match. Noam Dar pulls off the win. We had Dirty Dom versus Trick Williams. Another good match. Trick Williams capturing his first ever NXT North American Championship off of Dirty Dom. I was surprised.
By himself.
No outside interference, no cheap shots, nothing. Straight up match. It was pretty good. Shocked because of the momentum that the Judgment Day has, that he lost it, especially since he's the heat god right now. Right. But great match. Then we had Carmelo Hayes versus Ilja Dragunov, and I just want to say I'm an Ilja Dragunov fan after this match.
What?
I'm a Carmelo Hayes fan after this match.
Do yourself a favor. Go back and watch him in versus. Not to take anything away from this match at all. Go back and watch him versus Gunther. I guarantee you like him.
Yeah. So coming out of this, I was watching this with Focus, and that's the first thing I said. I'm like, yo, I can see this guy in Imperium. Bring him up, put him in Imperium. He's like, nah, he needs his own stable. He was like the anti Gunther. They were going against each other. Yeah. So I do want to see that. His in-ring style, the look, the classic feel that Gunther has is what Dragunov has. I'm definitely impressed. Like, this was the good thing. Having not tapped into NXT for so many months and then getting that NXT and then straight into a pay-per-view, I got to appreciate like the development of the new people. I got introduced to new wrestlers. So it was a good feeling. And the overall theme of the pay-per-view was fire. Yes. Becky Lynch versus Tiffany Stratton for the NXT Women's Championship in the Extreme Rules match. Shout out to Becky's what is it? Dresser? What do they call them? Stylist. I don't have no fucking style. I can't even say that. But yeah. So shout out to the stylist. She had like a tank top, white tank top that was like markered
Mm-hmm.
graffiti all over with like different shout outs, her different names throughout her career. It had Bray Wyatt's name on the side. It had like a quote in the back. Fire look for this match. Tiffany Stratton made me a believer. I'm definitely impressed. This is the first match that I actually full fledged got to see what she, what she can do, and
Yeah,
they've
she
been
can go.
comparing
She
her
can go.
to like a Charlotte, like a young Charlotte, and I see it. I see it now. She did some shit I never saw before. She did like
Yeah, she's
springboard.
really athletic.
She did like how China used to do the flips into the
Yeah,
elbow. She
she did
did
that to the barricade.
something, yeah, similar through the barricade.
Yeah.
Never seen that before. So you already get 10 points just for showing
Mhm.
me some shit after all these years that I've never seen anyone do. Which for the
What
first
about the
time in
Barbies?
commentary could actually be legit when Booker T says that's the first time I see some shit. Because Booker
Sucky
T,
ducky quack quack.
you be capping, bro.
That was
Big
the
happen.
sucky ducky quack quack
Yo,
of the moment.
I've never seen this before in my whole life. Stop lying, I've seen it, and you're an actual wrestler. But that move through the barricade definitely was fire.
Sucky ducky.
And that was the NXT card.
What about
Focus, I know
the
Focus got to
Barbies
see
use?
Focus got to see the whole card. So what do you think about No Mercy?
I think it was great. What do you think of the Barbie use in Becky Lynch versus
Oh
Tiffany
shit, yeah,
Stratton
that
match?
was hilarious.
Instead of using thumbtacks, they use Barbies.
They were fucking
So
gassed
hurt.
too. They were
So
Yeah,
hurt.
gassed thinking that it was the tax.
I I thought it was a great fake out. Carmelo Hayes and Ileana Dragunov should be called up soon. Hopefully, like I said, Dragunov needs his own stable to put him on the gun that would undermine him. He's a star and he needs to get his own stable and fight Imperium as their ultimate rivals. We need we need to see like a lot more things coming into this next pay-per-view that they're coming up because it's gonna be hard to top this one.
Yeah, it was good, and it definitely got me wanting to go back and dive into NXT a little bit, and keep
Worth
up
it.
with what's going on over there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
It
definitely a
was. It
good
was.
return to form of me watching NXT.
It
You
was
know,
Nick
the,
Khan.
it
Nick
was the
Khan
NXT
wanted to really.
2.0 that threw me off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
NXT 2.0 was a stupid experiment. Nick Khan wanted to make it a point to bring main roster stars down to NXT to bolster their ratings. So when they go into negotiations for the TV deals, it's like, look, we got all this going. And it's done nothing but wonders for NXT. I've been getting back into NXT lately. I didn't get to see the full card, but I did get to see a large amount of that. Ilio Dragunov Ilio Dragunov and Trick Hayes and Carmelo Hayes, and just every time I see Dragunov, he is just beasting. He is a monster. He definitely needs to be called up to the main roster when it's time to right. But definitely, AJ, do yourself a favor. Go back. And this was during the COVID era, so this is during the empty arena area. Go back and watch Dragunov versus Gunther, and it's brutal. It's almost uncomfortable
Yeah,
how hard they're
I'm gonna
hitting
definitely
each other.
check that
Because
out.
there's no fans to bounce. So all you're hearing is,
The chops.
oh, it's
Yeah,
brutal.
I could imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go back and watch that.
yeah.
you know what?
But
I got one last thing to say.
yeah,
I'm gonna say this tag team fatal four way was the best one out of
of the
AEW
weekend,
and yes,
of the
of
weekend.
course, of the weekend between AEW and WWE. This had the best fatal four way tag team
You know what?
match.
I will give them I will give them that. I will give them that. I honestly, for having half of the match card of AEW, I'm gonna say it straight up. I enjoyed NXT way more than I did Wrestle Dream. There was points that was like, damn, this is really long. There's another match.
I didn't.
So
I didn't even know it ended at 12.
yeah.
Agree
So
with all these two.
which I think Tony needs to change the strategy up a little bit and air it earlier, so people who have to fucking work
Yeah, it was
don't
too
have to
much.
be up to don't have to be up to 1 a.m. because you
Start
want to
the
have the
start,
scrim 40 fucking minutes late.
bro. That shit had me. Fuck. After the first one, I was like, no, I'm out of here. I can't. I can't.
But
This guy.
overall, card versus card, I would say overall enjoyment and just straight to the pointness. I did enjoy NXT No Mercy better, and the theme of that pay per view was really dialed in. You felt the theme throughout the entire event, which is a little bit of my knock on Wrestle Dream. So let's get
How would
right
you
into
rate
Wrestle
it?
Dream. Well,
How would you
NXT
rate?
No Mercy.
Yeah.
For me coming back for not watching NXT for a while, this was a solid 9 out of 10. It was almost perfection to me.
All killer, no thriller.
Yeah, it was straight. It was straight to the point. Every match hit hard. Everybody hit their spots. It was good suspense moments. I didn't find myself at any point drifting, looking away at my phone, or wondering, damn, what time this shit ends.
That's true.
So it was solid. I think they probably got the edge versus pay-per-views because less was more. And the matches that they had the time enough to give us what we needed. So let's move on to Wrestle Dream. And the first thing I'm gonna say is, like I said, the theme. The theme of this was supposed to be a tribute to Inoki, the owner of New Japan Pro Wrestling. He passed away a few months ago. It's supposed to be a tribute for New Japan. And my problem with it was outside of the opening tribute to Inoki and Tony Khan and the others being in the ring, you didn't really feel it outside of octopus stretches throughout the night. And outside of Barnett being his student, I didn't feel the theme throughout the night. Not
And
only that,
Shibata.
I felt like it needed way more New Japan wrestlers. And if you couldn't provide that, we should have at least had the Bullet Club Gold to fill out that, because they come from New Japan as well. So, I mean, we only had the Bullet Club Gold through the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match, but you know what I'm trying to get here. We needed more New Japan presence in this one. Wrestle Dream is the perfect avenue to be the other point of Forbidden Door. If you're gonna have a big 4 or big 6 pay-per-views and you're sharing that specialness with New Japan, this should have felt like a New Japan pay-per-view presented by AEW. That's just my opinion. Most people don't really care about that shit, but I feel like if you're gonna go with this, and Tony is trying to build annual events at this point, he's not trying to just a throwaway dynamite match. He's theme. He's trying to actually build up his annual pay-per-views. So if Wrestle Dream was supposed to be something special and it was for Inoki, to me, it lost that specialness and it lost that tribute slightly after Tony Khan left the ring. After the actual tribute. Not only that, the logo was very reminiscent of WrestleMania. I feel like for the casual fan, the people that are only WWE people and you're trying to catch their eye, that might be an issue, because then it might be like, oh, it's the bootleg WrestleMania, or why is this company trying to have the same kind of aesthetic? Again, not super huge, but it did make me think of WrestleMania a few times throughout the night. And with as long as this card was, yeah, it was like a WrestleMania um classic WrestleMania 8-9 hour show, it felt. So let's go off the card. We had to start things off MJF defeating the Righteous for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. He, of course, was in a handicap match because of Adam Cole's injury. He said that he's going to defend it until he can't no more, and or Adam Cole gets back so they could continue being a tag team. We had Eddie Kingston defeating Katsuyori Shibata for
That
it
was
wasn't
supposed to be
actually
more of
for
like
a
a tribute
championship.
match. That was for that was for all of Eddie's championship, for all
Oh,
of his championships.
it was for both of
Yeah,
his titles, right?
he's a Ring of Honor champion and he's a New Japan
Strong.
strong champion. Uh, they that was one of those things where they, like, I agree with you. They could have just done more with the Anthony Inoki tribute. You know, that was supposed to be one of those matches supposed to be, you know,
Even if they
dedicated to
would,
him. They could have just emphasized that more. Really, they could have just
even if they
emphasized that
gave us
more
a
video
little
packages.
flashback of a match at between matches or between setups, it's the
Yeah,
little
I
things,
agree.
you know. I wanted to be
I agree.
reminded why Wrestle Dream is special. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, AEW, please do that more. Like, even with tributes or whatever, please stop assuming that we all watch everything, because we have lives outside of wrestling. Maybe hard for other people to digest that, but we do other things besides talk and watch wrestling. So, you know, just those videos, those short video packages for the reminders, for the upkeep, those would be mint.
All right, so now we have continue down the card. Chris Statlander defeating Julia Hart for the TBS championship. We
Wrong
have
choice.
uh
Wrong choice.
it was terrible. To me, it was terrible on Chris Statlander's behalf. Julia Hart, for the most part, was impressive, considering her lack of in-ring time, her lack of exposure in this kind of light. So I think Julia Hart did do a good job, but I just don't think Chris Statlander was the good choice to take that title from Jade. We'll see.
Yeah.
The Young Bucks defeating the Guns, the Lucha Bros, and Hook and Orange Cassidy. So, like we said,
Shout out to the Guns intro. Can we just talk about that? Shout out to the Guns intro. Shout out to the fact that the Guns went from last year from being the AEW Tag Team Champions, who I don't think anybody really likes. But I think this year they're in a much better place by hooking up with Bullet Club. I personally like the Guns now, as opposed to last year. I just was not a fan. Too much, too soon. But then we're being Bullet Club Gold, good stuff. And
they were always the
I love
they were always the comedic jackasses to me. Now
right.
You're actually just comedic,
right?
You know what I mean. I'm enjoying it now, and like you said,
and the intro fire.
With Bullet Club Gold, they definitely like elevated their status. But like me and Focus said, I'm just gonna double down. I think NXT had the better fatal 4-way. Not only did I think NXT had the better fatal 4-way, I think the Bucks winning this over the others. I didn't see Hook and Orange Cassidy having a reason to win, but winning it over the Guns specifically, I felt like why. I kind of wanted to see the Bucks continue in this route with the Elite, that the Elite is struggling to attain wins, so we can have a bigger storyline down the line. But you know, you always got to book the Bucks. We have Swerve Strickland defeating Hangman Adam Page, which arguably to me is one of the matches of the night.
I think that's a match of the year contender. I don't think it is, but I think for in the long run, what it will do for Swerve, hopefully they continue this momentum. You know, we'll look back on this and be like, oh, this is when Swerve started that run and all that. So hopefully by the end of the year, he'll be fighting MJF for the Triple B. Shout out to Swerve. Shout out to Hangman. I heard a lot of people talk about their promos prior to it. No knock on Hangman, but Swerve has been Swerve has been eating him up. Swerve has been killing him with the promos. Like he's been killing him.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny? Swerve killed him saying you haven't even bought gear in over a year, right?
Right.
Did you peep that Hangman bought new gear, but not only did he buy new gear, it's in the exact same color scheme as the Doodle HBK attire from Elimination Chamber in his comeback. Brown.
This is a good match, though.
And baby blue, and I think he did that shit on purpose. I think he wanted like Doodle HBK vibes.
This was a really
great
good match.
Like I said, arguably match of the night. Next up, we have Ricky Starks defeating Wheeler Yuta. Another good match. I think it could have went a little bit better, but it was decent. The second match I think was arguably match of the night. Bryan Danielson defeating Zack Sabre Jr. Love this match. Love the story that they're building between it. Who's the best technical wrestler? I keep calling Daniel Bryan. Bryan Danielson defeated him by knockout, like knocking him out and getting the 1, 2, 3, as opposed to tapping him. He doesn't feel like he actually won. being the best
Right.
technical wrestler. So there's so much more story they could do, and there's so many more matches that we can see technically. And anytime they bring Zack Sabre Jr. is a good time. And Zack was also one of
Shout
the
out to Zack.
tributes to the New Japan. So that was one of the matches outside of what was his name? Oh wow,
Shibata?
they did not even put that match on here.
What match?
The match with Inoki's student
Barnett?
Barnett.
Oh, the pre-show matches?
Yeah, so
Had it with
they didn't even list this here. So
Yeah, there was on
so
0
technically it
hour.
didn't count. So as of right now, Eddie Kingston, Shibata,
That was a great match right
and
there.
just the Zack Sabre Jr. match
Matt Hardy.
were the New Japan matches.
Right.
So like I said, they needed more New Japan influence on this match card. We had the Callis family defeating Jericho and the Golden Lovers. We had FTR defeating the
Wait,
Aussie
hold on. Before we move on from that match, this has been an unfortunate theme. I don't know what's going on with Kota Ibushi. I know he had some neck injuries, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I'm a fan of the Golden Lovers. I'm a fan of his old work. AEW Kota Ibushi has not done it for me. It's been a little disappointing, to be honest with you.
I am so glad you said that.
I'm not really feeling this story, and this is, as y'all know from watching
You trying to call him Kota Ibushi?
I'm not going to go as far as to say that, but this is not the Kota Ibushi that I'm expecting. This
Honestly,
is not.
He hasn't shown me Kota Ibushi for New Japan not once in AEW.
Right.
And if you, I don't know if you felt the same way, but the spot that they were throwing the elbows back at each other, shit didn't hit like it would hit in New Japan.
It's because he's not as crisp as he was. Kota needs more reps.
Yeah,
Kota
it was,
needs more reps.
and then him doing the tiger punch and dropping somebody with one shot, and then just chopping another person away. Like
it's only because he's not moving as crisp as he used to. Because when he did that in New Japan, it was believable. You know what I'm saying? He's just not. And I think honestly, I'm not. I think he just needs more reps. He's had such a long time of being off, the injuries, and he just needs more reps. He needs to wrestle more besides these big main event spots. There needs to be more build up. Just once again, like I said earlier, AEW, you have to stop assuming that we watch everything. Casual fans that are just coming in, you should have them. You should have the Golden Lovers on Dynamite. Have the Golden Lovers on Collision. Build up to these teams. It shouldn't just be Jericho and Omega in these matches. Not everybody knows who the fuck Kota Ibushi is. Most people don't know who Kota Ibushi is. He's not a household name. You know what I'm saying? Build this guy up. Have people do video packages if he's not going to wrestle. You know what I'm saying? But stop assuming that we are going to know the history and why he's great and why I should be excited. Because if this is your first time ever seeing Kota Ibushi, you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be like, why is this guy?
What was that cheesy spot he just did?
Right. Like, what's the point of that?
Why does he always look at Kenny like that?
Right. You know what I'm saying? Put some context to it. God damn it, focus. Hey, that's crazy.
Pause.
Pause. Whoa.
But no, I definitely get what you're saying, and I agree. That's my biggest problem with the presentation of AEW. Why should I beg for replays, bro? Sometimes there's been a few times in this week that a match is going on. I go like this, boom, the ending happened, and then they don't show it. Yeah. I gotta wait till it's on fucking YouTube.
Yeah,
they do that way too much.
Like I was saying to you in our group text, Nigel McGuinness was calling that out because Nigel can't get a replay. Can we see that again? Can we please see that again to a point where he was just like, fuck what's going on right now?
Can we please get one of those replays?
Get one of those replays, guys. And I agree with them. Like,
no, for real. I've been begging for it. For it. You want to see the good spots. Even the NBA gives you a replay on the fucking slam dunks.
Right.
Hey, come on, bro.
They need to update the production, man. Get a replay guy or something.
This has been the first Kenny Omega storyline that I'm just like,
It's lackluster.
It's lackluster. It's
Sammy
unfortunate.
Sammy
It's
gets the
unfortunate.
heel win over Jericho though in this, and I do like what they're doing with Sammy
Yes.
coming out of it. So that's the
Finally,
plus of this for
finally,
me. Yeah. So
finally, Sammy, because he would get what sucked about Sammy is he would get like he was supposed to be a face, wouldn't get cheered, supposed to be a heel, wouldn't get booed, and it just be like indifferent. So I'm finally now that they're putting him in a position where he comes out, he gets booed. So shout out to Sammy, he deserves it. So
yeah. Next up, FTR defeats Aussie Open. And then we have Christian Cage defeating Darby Allin, excuse me, for the TNT Championship. Arguably, that's my third pick. Arguably, match of the night, and it was for story, it was for action, it was for suspense, it was Christian's viciousness, it was Darby Allin's recklessness. I love to see it, but I hate to see it. Like, I can't complain and feel bad for Edge, and then I see this young dude who's like, I'm gonna crash and burn my career quick for the moments, and
Let me
not
just
for the
break my arm.
longevity.
Let
But
me just
Darby
break my
has,
arm in the middle of the match. Why not?
right.
Yo,
But Darby has literally said this that he's here for a good time and a long time.
but that's the bad outlook, because even if you're not here, you're here for a good time, not a long time. When you're out of here, you're gonna be in pain for the rest of your life.
Hopefully he'll hang it
Look
up.
at Maven. How much has Maven done in the career he had?
Right.
And to this day, he still has pain, he says.
Right.
So imagine somebody like Darby Allin, whose style was turned to 1,000.
Right. Ugh.
You know?
Ugh.
All right, we're running out of time. So real quick, final thoughts on Wrestle Dream match of
They
the
dropped
night.
the ball. They dropped the ball on the whole card. Match of the night would have to be Bryan Danielson versus Sabre Jr. son.
I really like that. Shout out to Swerve. And my heart wants to say Hangman versus Swerve because I feel like in the long run, this is going to be the start to Swerve's ascension, hopefully being the first Black AEW World Champion. My favorite match of the night, honestly, was the main event. Shout out to Adam Copeland for making his debut. Shout out to Christian for some of the best heel work in the whole business.
Definitely.
Period.
Definitely.
In the whole business.
All right, so you guys got my thoughts on Wrestle Dream, and we're gonna wrap it up there. We could do this all day, but unfortunately, we're out of time. So, with that being said, that's been Richie Moon, that's been Kayfabe Focus, and Kayfabe AJ. This has been Kayfabe Avenue. Follow us, like, share, subscribe. We're on all podcast platforms and YouTube. Check us out. And Kenny, take us home.
Swerve.
Good.